do you have something that you're working on now that fans can look forward to, or you can give us a little bit of a sound bite about?
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, getting back to your point about Life of Pi being very visual, it's absolutely true. When I wrote Life of Pi, it was very much a very visual thing. It was contrasts of colors. It was very cinematic in my head. Um, and that's, I'm sort of discovering, is perhaps one of the ways I write. Yeah, because my next novel is kind of like that too. Yeah, right now I'm working on a novel that'll be called The High Mountains of Portugal. It is the Portuguese novel of which I'm speaking in the introduction, in the author's note of Life of Pi. This novel that becomes stillborn, sputters, coughs, and dies, and then he mails to Siberia. It's a novel, an idea that I've had in my head for a very long time, and I never, well, at that time I didn't have the artistry. I didn't know how to tell the story. Now I finally figured it out, and so I'm hard at work at it. It's a novel in three parts, a single novel in three parts, and I've written part one. And just in fact, today I'm starting to write part two. Each time I do my research and I write, I've just pretty well finished my research for part two and I'm starting to write it. It's set in Portugal. The first part takes place in 1904. It involves a road trip from Lisbon to the very northeast of the country in a very early automobile, a 1904 Renault, a 12 horsepower Renault. Mm. And it's driven by a man who doesn't know how to drive a car. It's lent to him by his very wealthy uncle, who has this new technological bauble called the automobile. Mm-hmm. And our main character, our protagonist, doesn't know how to drive, but he's just given this car. And as he goes on this road trip, it is progressively revealed why he wants to go there. And why he wants to go there is linked to a story set on an island that was once a Portuguese colony called Sao Tome, which is in the Gulf of Guinea, so off the west equatorial coast of Africa, a small island that used to be a holding station for slaves. That links to why he wants to go to the northeast of Portugal. And I'm just starting part two, which is set in 1938, different people, and this time it features a pathologist who's working late one night in his hospital, catching up on reports, and during the course of the night, two women knock at his door, two women at separate times, one woman then another, who don't know each other, knock at his door and have interactions with them. And then part three takes place another 30, 40 years later, doesn't really matter, and features a Canadian senator who is retired to Portugal. And each is quite distinctive time, distinctive people who don't know each other, but they're linked by a common theme. And once again, I'm using animals. So once again, this time I'm using chimpanzees and rhinoceroses. But it'll be completely different from Life of Pi, as it's different from Beatrice and Virgil. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm as excited by it as I was by Life of Pi.
It sounds like, I mean, we'll be getting it a lot sooner than what we normally get your novels in as far as time frame. I mean, do you have a time frame that you're kind of aiming for?
Yes, because my partner is having our third baby in April, mm-hmm. So I would like to finish part two by April, if not earlier, in fact. And inshallah, I'm hoping to have finished the novel by next summer. Mm-hmm. I said I'm just about to start writing part two. Part one came very quickly. There was rewriting involved and all that, but I wrote about 50,000 words in 2 months. So I'm hoping that part two, which is shorter than part one, will come fairly quickly. So I'd like to have it finished by next April, so I imagine it will come out sometime in 2000 and whatever, we're in 12, sometime in 2014.
Yeah. Oh, well, definitely something to look forward to.